Our Mike Yanni on location this morning at the SAIT Culinary Campus, always picking up some new skills. Mike?
Yeah, actually, Jill, we switched locations this morning, not the SAIT Culinary Campus. The initial idea was to go into the Jackson Garden here at the SAIT campus because that's where they make all, or they grow, they don't make it, they grow all the vegetables here that they use on campus. So we thought it'd be kind of that time of the year to talk about what we should do with all this stuff coming off our garden this time of the year. Chef Michael Decker joining me, and we were talking about tomatoes. Calgary, if you didn't start your tomatoes early enough, chances are they look like that right now. Probably not going to get much better, but you're saying don't throw them away. You can actually make some great things with green tomatoes. Absolutely.
There's lots of stuff. And yeah, in Calgary, let's face it, the majority of our tomatoes come out green. So today we're going to do a classic fried green tomatoes. There's other things, green tomato relish, chow chow for the East Coasters. So we're going to start here with dredging these green tomatoes. And we have just a variety. It doesn't matter what type of tomato you have, just the fact that they're green. So we're going to start breading these, and we're going to do a cornmeal bread. So you're going to start in flour here.
All right.
Means
give them a good dip in flour.
Please, nice even coating.
And then
into our egg wash, which is eggs and cream. So that's going to help the cornmeal blend to it.
Okay.
Doing great.
And then last one here
is a cornmeal base.
Cornmeal.
So there's cornmeal, and we put a little bit of cayenne in there too, just for a little bit of spice. So when you're thinking of a green tomato, think of really intense tomato flavor. But of course, they're a little more denser than your traditional ripe tomatoes.
These are really firm.
They are.
And is it when you fry them, they're going to soften up?
Well, and that's what lends itself to cooking, is because during that cooking process, it's going to tenderize it up a lot. So give you that more traditional feel to the tomato. But you still have that intense green flavoring with it.
Okay, so we're going to throw these in the fryer.
You betcha.
So that's over here.
So I had some done here for us, so by all means, drop those down.
Drop those in. And now let's bring the final product. How long does this cook for, by the way?
Until they're golden brown, so in this case about a minute, minute and a half in 375-degree oil.
So it doesn't take long, really?
Not at all. So with that, we're going to whip up a quick horseradish sauce with it. So really, with anything deep fried, it's always a little bit about the sauce. So
of course.
We're going to start with some mayonnaise.
Let's be honest, the deep fried goodness is just the vessel for the sauce, right?
Isn't it, right? A little bit of buttermilk, some rice wine vinegar. And then we're going to top it off with some horseradish. So if we can get you to mix that up for us. There we go. And we want a little bit on the thinner side, so that's looking beautiful. And then we're just going to plate these up.
And that's it. The sauce is done.
That's it.
Wow. Okay.
Easiest sauce ever. So we're going to put a little bit of that on the base of our plate here. Just a little drag. Not being shy with it. We're going to start placing our different pieces of tomato on there.
I thought making fried green tomatoes, I thought it's only something you hear about in the movies or on television, but you can make it here. I'm going to go, and hopefully I don't burn myself because these look a little bit warm. I'm going to give this a shot. Oh, hot. Hot, but good.
Somebody get like a glass of water.
Always give it a second to cool down.
Breathing steam.
Yeah, exactly right.
Mike on location this morning with one of our favorites, Chef Michael Decker.
Yeah, Michael Decker's fun.
Chef Michael Decker joining me now to talk about what you can do with those herbs if you don't, you can make paste, you were saying, and things like that. So where do we begin?
Well, usually when it comes to herbs, we plant them, and a lot of herbs are kind of like weeds. Like mint can take over your garden, parsley as well. So you always end up at the end of harvest or turning into the colder months. You want to preserve this because you loved it all year to try to make it grow. So how do you do that? And one of the easiest ways is to make a paste. And I really like to think of what you like to cook. So if I like to cook Greek things, I'm going to take all my oregano and my parsley, put it in here, maybe add some lemon zest, and freeze it down as such.
Okay, so you put them in a food processor.
Yeah. So we're going to start just with some parsley.
Oh, stem and all.
Stem and all. Absolutely. Okay. There's a lot of flavor in there, and it's tender, so it's going to break down. Okay. Then we're going to add a little bit of touch of olive oil to it. You could use grapeseed oil or something of that nature as well, and just blend it up. So you might want to make it a nice fine paste. Okay. Don't be afraid to move it around a little, and then freeze it down. And you can do that like your classic in the ice cube trays, or even in sheet trays I like to. So a baking cooking sheet, have a nice thin layer of it. Let it freeze, and then after, just kind of cut blocks out of it and store it in your Ziploc bag. So if you're making chicken noodle soup and it needs that little bit of something, you can add this little
Let's show what it looks like. We'll just show it to the camera so everyone kind of gets an idea at home. So would you let it go a little bit longer, or is that good enough?
A little bit longer. and then have it a little bit finer, but all that stuff is all flavor, so you want it quite a smooth paste.
That's a great idea, though, to preserve it, because I mean, I guess you can't really freeze it. Like, can you freeze it just like this if you want?
Not so much. It's going to break down, and chances are this could turn a little bit black, but when it's in the bigger scheme or in a meat sauce or something, you're not going to notice it.
No. Okay, now there's something that I've never heard of before, making your own tea without black tea. So this is from Jackson's Garden here on SAIT campus, and one of the gardener?
Yeah, Carla Hick did this, and I thought it was just an excellent idea. And none of these contain any black teas, though you could add it to after. But she's made literally some feminine health tea, digestive tea, and these are made out of things like raspberry leaves, dried raspberries, tarragon, there's hyssop in there, lemon balm. So she actually took all these herbs out, dehydrated them, and then put them into her own personal little blends.
There's a lot of aroma there.
There's tons, and it's great for you. Again, a lot of digestive properties, and I think we've forgotten about a lot of what herbs actually do for us on the health side of things versus as a chef, I'm always thinking about flavor and the additions they add.
Well, there you go. So there's another thing you can do with the herbs from your garden. Make tea at home. And Ted and Jill, just to remind all of our viewers, we are periscoping from SAIT. So if you have any questions you want to ask Chef Michael Decker, he's the guy, he's a professional. You don't always get to ask a chef very many questions. So there you go. Kind of focusing on harvest, but we've already answered some questions like how to make a perfect omelet. So it's a free-for-all really on Periscope.
Mike's hanging out with Chef Michael Decker, hanging out at SAIT this morning, Mike. And before the commercial, you were teasing that Chef Decker's giving you a trick to get the beet stains off of your fingers.
That's right, and I'm going to make you wait for the answer on that one, Ted. That will be coming up in a moment because, yes, we are talking about beets now. And, of course, when you're cutting beets, your hands do get fairly red. Now, beets, roasted beets. Maybe you don't know what to do with beets other than just throw them in a salad and things like that. You've got an idea that threw me for a loop. I never would have thought of this. A salsa with beets, with roasted beets.
Just something different again. You're coming to the end of harvest and you have all these root vegetables coming out of the ground. So if you think of a beet, it's inherently sweet. So what else is sweet? Tomatoes are sweet. So we're going to try to make this into a salsa.
Okay, so you've already roasted them in the oven for how long?
For until they're tender. Really important. No time here. It's complete. You're looking for it to be fork tender. Okay. Just wrapped in tin foil with some salt and olive oil.
Temperature?
Temperature I did 400, so quite hot.
Okay.
I want to really evaporate all that excess moisture and concentrate the flavors.
So we've got it diced up here. Now what's the next step?
Next step, we're going to classic pairing, right? Sour creams and beets. Polish people will know this well. So this will kind of give a creamy aspect to our salsa as well. So
I'm Ukrainian Polish, so this is
it's made
this feels
for
like
you.
home. Yeah, exactly.
Then we're going to go with some of the more traditional salsa ingredients. So we have some minced jalapeno here. Gonna add that in.
Okay. Obviously, you can put more in if you want it really hot.
Exactly. You temper that to your own taste. Some lime juice to it.
Okay.
Then, of course, some of that herbs. So, in this case, we have our fresh cilantro. If you did want to, you could have made this into a cilantro paste and be grabbing this from your freezer and folding it into your salsas as well. And a little bit of salt and pepper. So again, really basic flavor combinations here, but again, it's going to pull in that sweetness, the acidity, and a little bit of creaminess from the sour cream.
This looks
Should
like
pair
borscht.
very nicely. Exactly. Don't drop it on the shirt. That's the only problem with this.
Well, let's talk about that. You're cutting the beets up, your hands get all red. What is the trick, the secret, the chef's secret to get your hands back to normal?
First chef secret, wear gloves. wear gloves right from the start, and we're not in this position. Secondly, we usually use citrus juice, so we'll grab a half a lemon and some salt, and you'll rub it all over and into your hands, and that'll help pull out the pigment and hopefully not stain your hands as bad.
Oh, interesting, okay.
Now, if you have tiny cuts in your hands, best of luck because it won't be a pleasant experience.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, I'm going to taste this. I'm going to dig right in. Not nearly as hot as the fried green tomatoes, but that's really delicious. In fact, like you can taste the beets, but it's not overwhelming. It tastes like a salsa. That's
Again, gets that sweet background. So, and again, using things like herbs and spices. And this whole month coming up at Culinary Campus, we're doing a ton of our continuing education courses. So we have our soups and stocks. We have vegetarian, which is really cool items like such as this, and herbs and spices specifically. So if you don't know all the herbs and spices, this is a great opportunity for you to learn more about them.
There you go, all taking place at the SAIT Culinary Campus. And you know what? I'm going to dig into this salsa. This can't be beat. It's good.
It can't be beat. He's been hanging out too much with Andrew Schultz.
Mike, we're placing bets here. Are those pickled potatoes
Really? Potatoes? Okay, if those were potatoes, they'd be green. That'd be pretty gross. No, any other guesses though? Not potatoes. Anything else? No? Well, maybe. Chef, I'll let you answer this. These are not cucumbers. These are
Zucchini.
zucchini.
Close. Potatoes. So yeah, it's just something great to do with zucchini, and this is actually a fresh pickle, so it doesn't involve the whole canning process, even though I put them in beautiful mason jars. This is a fresh pickle, so it's really easy to do. Great with things like zucchini. You could do this with carrots. You could do this with various other root vegetables in your garden as well. So
Try one. So I am very curious about this.
it's really delicious. So we start out with some vinegar. Most traditional pickling recipes will use just white vinegar that you get in the big jug, 6% acidic content. So we want to keep to something similar to that, just so it breaks down the vegetable but still keeps it crisp. So I like using rice wine vinegar. It's just a little slightly mellower flavor. It just gives it another dynamic.
Yep.
We're going to add sugar to that,
Okay.
salt. And this is just regular salt. You can use pickling salt, but again, because it's a fresh pickle, it's not sitting in a jar. And then we're adding a little bit of chili flakes to it.
Get some heat.
Exactly, just a little bit of spice. Now, if you like dill, if you like garlic, this is the stage you can add it in. Also, I like playing with different vinegars. So not just rice wine vinegar, what about sherry vinegar? Try adding that in, or your red wine vinegars, your balsamic vinegars. Obviously, it's going to give a different hue of color to your pickle, but also give you a little bit more exciting flavor, I guess, too.
I'm going to assume you're going to have to slice these pretty thin.
Exactly. So we're going to use something, this is called the Japanese-style mandolin. You can pick these up in most kitchen places, and it just does an excellent job of keeping a consistent, probably about a 1/4 inch cut or slice of the vegetable.
Okay.
Again, the thicker it is or harder vegetable, the longer it would take in the fridge.
Now, would you throw those in here, or do you put these in a jar and then put this in
I would
afterwards?
put this into a jar or a resealable container. We're going to let this come to a boil, and you simply pour it over top. Let it cool at room temperature. Once it's cooled, put the lid on it in the fridge, and it'll last there up to 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay. Now, I want to show everyone at home one more thing we got down here.
Very special.
This is pretty special. So, cameraman Nick, can you just get a close shot of this, please? We couldn't fit 55 candles on here, but it is cameraman Nick's birthday today. So, the folks here at the Highwood put this together for Nick. Hopefully, he's in a sharing mood today, so maybe there's some extra spoons. Maybe he'll share that. And you know what? If you're watching now, and you want some more cooking goodness with Chef Michael Decker, we are going to be posting segments online. It's called BT Extra. It's exclusive content. We're going to be making green tomato salsa, and we're going to talk about growing microgreens in your house all year round. So make sure you head to our website after to see BT Extra exclusive content. And once again, happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday.
Nick Blakeney is 55.
The camera was shaking because he's laughing.
You know what? I thought he was a bit older than that, so good for him.
Happy birthday, Nick. We love our cameraman, Nick. BreakfastTelevision.ca. Hit up extras for those extra recipes and how you can grow microgreens all year round.
Yeah.
We'll tee up tomorrow's show. We have a couple of great
Looks
guests.
like winter out there.
Oh, yeah. 8:56. You're watching Breakfast Television on City.